No, it automatically started the stream. Cool. Welcome, guys. So we are about to go live with Lautrina. I believe that's how you say it. I'll verify with her when she joins us. And she's going to share her story with us, surviving generational abuse. And I'm really trying to get my camera set up so it's looks good. Because right now my camera's above my monitor, and if I'm just looking at my monitor like I'm looking at the person I'm interviewing, it looks like I'm looking down or at at the bottom of my screen. But I need to figure out a way, set it up so it actually looks like I'm like staring you guys in the eyes while I can see the person, but I don't think there's a way to actually do that. So we're just going to be waiting here for a little bit and wait for her to hop in the Zoom call, and then we'll get started. How I like this to run is, well, we're new to this, so there's going to be a lot of learning in the beginning, and then we'll get it perfected after a little bit. But how I like to run this is we're going to do it in chronological order, so learn about their childhood, then the adulthood, and then where they are now, what they're doing if they're advocating or anything, and of course their story. But just doing it in order so it's easy to follow. If you guys want to go back in the live stream, you have an easy timeline to follow. And I'll probably go back in some of the videos and add timestamps to make it easier to click through if there's certain topics that they cover. So we're just waiting here. She'll be here in 2-3 minutes, and then we'll get started. What is up? Welcome, welcome. Do 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 do. Let me know how the camera looks. Someone showed me or told me that I was using the wrong setting on my camera. I had it in manual mode. So now it should be full quality, except for YouTube, because YouTube likes to crap on live streams and videos and make it look terrible. Like on my own screen, it looks great. But the bitrate, I guess, on the actual stream is not the best, but it is what it is. Got to deal with it. If only I could do like 20,000 bitrate because my computer can handle it. Alrighty, here she is. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing today? Not hearing any sound right now.
Hello?
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good. Is your name pronounced Latrina?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I was having a hard time guessing what it was going to be. Got it right. Awesome.
Oh my. I don't know where you went. Okay. I think I'm together, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I like to make it easy to follow. So we'll just go from like childhood to where you are now. And if you're advocating, then you can shout out any websites or any social media you're on.
Oh, okay. Okay, Arizona Coalition for to End Sexual and Domestic Violence.
Yeah.
That's where you found that's where I found your email.
Yes.
Yes. So you want me to start from childhood?
Yeah. Tell us about like your childhood and any struggles or anything you want to talk about. And remember, if I ask any question that makes you uncomfortable, just let me know.
Okay. Well, I grew up in a 3-parent home where it was my mother, my father, and my grandfather, and my brother at the time. It was a dysfunctional home where my mother also was um, physically and sexually abused by my father. So I grew up watching that. um, constantly. That's probably why I made so many bad decisions on choosing men because I thought it was normal. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was how men showed you how they loved you because that's how my dad showed his love to my mom. So I grew up watching that. Um, and it traumatized me even up to now. Sometimes I'll go back because my memory is so good. I can remember things happening from three. So I was always trying to save my mother, bamming on the door, screaming, yelling, but it never worked.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I grew up from an early age, watching that happen and becoming something normal for me
Yeah.
to grow up with. Yeah,
And I think that's important that you pointed that out, that it seemed normal to you because, and it made other relationships bad because you saw that as being normal. And it's something you thought every relationship should be like, but obviously it's not.
no, yeah. So going on from there, um, finally, probably around 6 or 7, my mom and dad finally separated. But it was a violent separation where um, my mom was getting us ready to leave, and my father grabbed her and she took this his favorite wine bottle because my dad was also an alcoholic and a drug addict. So at the time he was drinking and he had his while we were leaving he was trying to hold her back or grab on her and she took the somehow got the bottle off the table and just took it and cracked it against his head and blood was splattered everywhere. It was like very traumatizing. But then I said, "Get him, mom." Such a young age, and her separating and seeing this violence, I was happy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one thing I remember as a little girl, being happy that my mom finally hit him back. I didn't know how I understood, but I did. I understood a lot that was happening. My mom, to this day, I tell her things that happened when I was that young. She can't believe that I understood what was going on. So
How old were you at this time?
I was about between 6 and 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah, between 6 and 7.
something no kid should have to see.
No, not at all.
So, is there anything? What do you think was one of the uh, biggest ways of getting support to deal with this kind of trauma?
Um, for a long time, I've never had dealt with it. It wasn't until um, when once we moved in with my auntie, my mom's sister, who was going through the same thing with her husband.
Oh wow.
Uh, I had to visually watch her and her go through her abuse, where her husband, the time we moved in, her husband somehow broke into the house, got to her, and broke her nose, and my auntie nose was like over here on the side of her face, and I'm like, oh my god, this again. Now my auntie. So it's just I think I call it generational abuse because it's something that I've seen so many women in my family go through, and it was normal. It was
Mm-hmm.
normal.
That's just terrible to have
Yeah,
to think as a kid that that's just normal.
yeah, because I really tell you now, I don't even know how I made it this long in life from all the stuff that I've had to go through and witness. I just thank God that he's made me so strong that I'm still here,
Mm-hmm.
because I've I've even counseled women who have been through some of the things that I've been through, or have seen some of the things, just one of the things that I've been through, and barely making it. And me, I've been through all this abuse and all this physical abuse and molestation and incest and rape. I mean, I've been through a lot. I know it's God that keeps me going in my three kids,
And just
wanting to
and
have better for them.
and being able to get on here and talk just shows how brave you really are and how strong you are. Because it's not an easy
Yeah.
thing to do, even if it's like your first time or your 100th time sharing your story. It's never easy.
No, it's never easy, but it has gotten easier,
Yeah.
because when I used to first share it, I used to cry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of times sharing it, when I first began to share it, I would cry. It was like it continued to affect you. It's like uh, it makes you emotional. But as I share it more, I've shared it now in several different ways. I've shared it in my book. I've shared it in the documentary that I'm in. I've shared it as an advocate. I've shared it as a speaker. I've shared it as a minister. I've shared it, you know, so many times now. It gets easier. I
Mm-hmm.
don't try to write anything down anymore. I just, once you start asking me the questions, I'm able to answer,
Mm-hmm.
and at more at ease with it, talking about it, and being able to share it. It gets easier. I mean, at the beginning, yeah, it's very difficult to share it.
It's really important that people do so then abusers don't get away with what they did and
Yeah.
hold them accountable. Because the statistics are 1 in 4 for women and 1 in 6 for men, but that's only stuff that's been reported. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah, I didn't report mine either. I didn't report mine. And a lot of times we don't report it out of fear. And depending on how abusive the abuser is, or how violent he is, you think about that twice. So um, I mean, I had to make a way of escape for me and my three children, because it wasn't just me involved in this relationship, it was all four of us. And so making a way of escape took a couple of months. So I had to act as if, I was all lovey dovey with this person, so that he doesn't harm me or my children, while I'm trying to come up with an escape plan, you know.
Do you,
So
whereas your religion, it sounds like you're a religious woman. So was that a big part of being able to help you as well as your children?
once I left the relationship, yes. I wasn't religious during the relationship, but when I left California for Phoenix, I met a friend from California, my mom's friend, who went to this particular church and invited me and my kids to this church. And from then we start going to church, yes, as a family. And yes, going to church did help me and my family a lot. We went to the counselor that was there at the church. It's a Christian counselor. It was a Baptist church. I'm no longer affiliated with it, but I have, because of it, I was um, pushed into my purpose, um, because of it today. And yes, I'm not religious. I I'm I don't want to be ever religious. I just have a personal relationship with God, and because of it, it gives me strength to share my testimonies with other women, and to counsel women, because I do counsel women as well. I haven't did it since the pandemic, but and I used to do groups, but everything has been placed on hold because I am the CEO and founder of the Beginning of a Woman Global Ministry.
Oh wow, that's
And
awesome.
that, yeah, that's one of the things that um, being a member of that church pushed me into, um, to starting something that I could use that would help me help others. So that's how I was given that ministry. It's called the Beginning of a Woman Global Ministry.
And what do you
And
do with
so
that?
I do all kind of things with it. I advocate. I do mission work. I do groups. I could do one-on-one counseling because I am licensed as a minister, but I'm in the doctoral program to get my doctorate in pastoral counseling.
Oh wow, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, I used to do a lot of counseling at the church too. I was pastoral staff there for like 8 years. That's why I said I'm not religious. I religious people play around. I don't have
Yeah.
time to play games. You know, they play. They got time to play around in the church. I'm trying to save people's lives. Try to
Hmm.
show them the signs and let them know. If somebody's beating you, that don't mean they love you. You know, some women think because they're beating them, that person loves them, and that's not true because love shouldn't hurt like that.
Hmm.
Shouldn't hurt like that. So
So
yeah,
why do you think people believe that?
because they've watched a lot of times. It's from family members they've seen, probably their mother, probably they grew up in it, and a lot of times they think that that's what love is. That's how a man shows his love to you,
Hmm.
is because it was something that they seen their mother go through. They seen their sister go through. They seen their auntie. I've seen my auntie, my mother. I've seen other aunties. I mean, I've been through it because I was dating at an early age. I started dating at an early age. I was because of everything that had happened to me by the time I got to 12 years old, I was like out of control at 12. Yeah, because by the time I had turned 12, I had been raped, molested, incest, abused. And then by 12, I had my first abortion. I was going through a lot. My mom made me do that. I was so angry at her. And then uh, I just got really angry and I would make a lot of bad choices. A lot of bad choices. Continually made bad choices. And one was dating him after, got a certain age. I was dating at 12, 13, 14, 15, trying to find something or someone to love me.
Hmm.
And or just being loved. And sometimes because I was so young and my mother wasn't never home. And this was another relationship where my daughter father, he used to beat me all the time too. So I've been in two really bad relationships that caused me a lot of trauma. So um, the first one, I was young, really young. The second one, I was probably in my 20s. Uh, it was then I said, I don't want this. I don't want this. It's not supposed to be like this. And 1999, me and another friend helped me with an escape plan while he was out of town. And I left Inglewood, Lawndale, California, never to turn back again with my U-Haul, his truck, His truck that I used to drive, that he gave me to drive, I had the keys to it. I got a story for that. It's a crazy story.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, that story, because I drove up in that car to the church. And so the people were looking at me like, look at this gangster. Because I drove up at the church in a gold truck with rims, and it was going up and down.
Riding in
That's why I said I
style.
don't. Yeah, that's why I said I don't play religion, because religious people don't understand me. Because
Yeah.
I'm from the streets. I come from Inglewood. Well, I was born in Los Angeles, California, in General Hospital. That's a county hospital. And then I grew up in Inglewood, California, Compton, Lawndale, Lenox. I mean, my family were gangbangers. I come from the hood. It's like if you can't understand the hood, you ain't gonna understand me.
Yeah.
I had a lot of clashing in the church because of that. They say one thing, but they say come as you are, but it's not true all the time.
Yeah, there's
They
definitely
don't, they don't,
judgments.
yes, they didn't know how to handle me. They really didn't know how to handle me, boy. And that's why I'm no longer there. But I reach people where they are. I don't, that's why I can talk to different types of people because I don't come with a judgmental spirit.
Hmm.
Because I've been through so much. How can I judge anyone? We're not supposed to judge, and that's what religious people do. They judge you before they even get to know you, but because they've never walked in your shoes, they can't minister to you.
Hmm.
Certain people just can't minister to you because they've never been in your shoes, and then when they try, they don't give good advice. My counselor at the church used to always say, Miss Patterson, you just now getting counseling now after being raped and molested, and you still here? He's like, it's unbelievable. I loved going to him because, he didn't make me feel bad about where I came from. And he gave me props for seeking help now because he can't believe that I'm still here, I'm still standing, I'm still alive, and I have 3 kids, and I'm trying to deal with this situation,
Hmm.
with 3 kids, and I'm trying to keep them from experiencing what I've experienced. So I raised them out of fear, because I was so determined not to let my girls and my son go through any of the things that I went through. And they did go through some things during my journey, but not to the point to where it would mess them up mentally like it did me,
Hmm.
you know. So they shared their experiences with me, and thank God they just got, it's like the end part of it, and it didn't affect them as much, because the experience wasn't a lot. It
Yeah.
was like 1, 2 experience, but for me it was so much. It was just so much, and they didn't have they had to go through something, but they didn't go through the amount of stuff that I went through because I I I was more watchful than my mother, and I knew what to look for. My mom would leave us with everybody. Me, I would leave my kids with 1 or 2 people that I knew. Other than that, they couldn't go and stay overnight or be with different people. I wouldn't allow it. Yeah, I wanted my kids to grow up normal, whatever that is. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that I didn't do the best job, but I did the best that I could. Um, my son, he's probably been to jail for probably one time, but it's not a lifestyle for him.
Hmm.
So I thank God for that. And my girls, they both have 2 master's degrees. They take care of themselves. One is married and one has a baby. She takes care of her and her baby. it wasn't like me where I was non-educated and didn't have no money, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're self-sufficient. Um, if they make a mistake, they can help themselves. But in my situation, I wasn't educated. Um, I was always dependent on men, and I always attracted men that wanted to take care of me. But it always came with a consequence. Like, it was always something wrong with that man. They always felt like they wanted to own you once they take care of you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Like you were a piece of property, not an actual
yeah,
human being.
yeah, yeah. And so um today, I mean, I've been able to do so much with my story and my testimony, that I'm in the process of starting to write another book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And this one's going to tell a little bit more. In my first book, it's just a book of prayers. And so what I did, I zoomed in on the different emotions and the different types of pain I went through with these emotions, like shame, um, um, a lot of them: shame, bitterness, unforgiveness. And so these prayers have different titles, and it was things that I suffered with, you know, and things, because I had to basically renew my mind. I had to start thinking differently in order to just function. And if it wasn't for my time, you know, going through, because I graduated from Grand Canyon University with my bachelor's in Christian leadership. Had I had not received that degree, because what it did, that education is powerful. I mean, once you learn something, it changes the whole way, your mindset, the way you process things, the way you think. And because forgiveness was so important to my faith, I had to forgive all those people, And once I forgave all those people that did those things to me, I was able I was able to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't always dwelling on it, because at first I would always dwell on it. You catch me crying all the time. I'd be thinking, why me? Well, you're still thinking about these things. You've made it out of it, but they continue to traumatize you.
And
Yeah.
I through this healing journey, because I was molested when I was a kid, and it's really helped me just hearing people's stories and reading things, having more sympathy for people in the worst of situations.
Yeah.
Even people who do bad things, it makes me
Mhm.
have sympathy for them as well, because I'm like, what kind of
Yeah.
pain did they go through where they thought it was
Yes.
okay to
There you
cause to other
go.
people?
There you go.
And people think
Yes.
I'm crazy when I say that, feeling bad for
No,
people who do bad.
no, because you got to ask. That's the one thing I had to ask myself. I was like, dang, if he molested me, who molested him?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, well, I read that most people who have been molesters may become molesters, but
Mm-hmm.
not all of us do that just because we've been. But there are some that become molesters because they were molested. And so that's always in the back of my mind. You know, okay, so if they're molesting me, then who molested them?
Mm-hmm.
And that gives me the opportunity to even feel sorry for them, have sympathy for them, and then be able to forgive them.
Yeah, and I brought up that point in a group, and it wasn't received well. Maybe because I
Um,
worded it in a weird way, I don't know. But
well,
yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
like I said, that's knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And once you begin to start reading different things, you start thinking differently. So what? So what if they don't understand you? This journey is for you and yourself, and what you need to do for you in order for you to be healed from whatever that was that traumatized you. I used to get it too. I mean, but you can't worry about what they think. You have to do what's best for you to make you heal from whatever that situation is. And for some people, it may not be forgiveness. For some people, they're going to continue to carry that and let it eat them up and let it hinder them. I'm not allowing it to. For me, it's better to forgive and let so I can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you don't forgive that person, those people, they still control your life.
Yep.
If you don't forgive them, they continue to control your life. But once you forgive them, there's a peace and you can move on. And my, I mean, it was most recently my sister told me she saw the guy that I ran away from. It scared me, not for me, but for her, because I knew what type of person he is.
Mm-hmm.
And when she made it home and was able to tell me, I felt so good because I know the type of person he is, So yeah, forgiveness was the key for me. And I tell everybody, forgiveness is the key. That and some people, I don't want to forgive them. Well, if you don't, you don't allow them to be the reason why you don't find love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, reason why you won't really be able to share love with someone else or be in love with someone else or be able to love someone. I mean,
Well, I
I,
think
I
I think when you say forgive, some people think that means they're not held accountable or brought to justice.
yeah.
Whereas you can forgive and still hold them accountable and get justice
Oh
for
yeah,
them.
definitely.
But I don't think
I
people know that.
Yeah, because some people I chose not to um for stupid reasons. I always thought, hey, you got yourself in this problem. You dealt with it, so now, you need to get out of it. And I never thought about calling the police on anyone because I've had bad run-ins with the police. And even though he put his hands on me or they put their hands on me, I never wanted the police to be involved because see, I grew up watching the police beat us.
Yeah.
I grew up watching the police um, beat beat up African Americans, my brother, I'm even my son. I remember cousins, you know have got beat up. And I didn't like them at the time, because police officer is the reason why my father passed away. um so and I didn't even like my father, but still I was mad at the police. So it's like that's a weird reason, but that's one of the reasons why I didn't call the police.
I mean, it makes sense when you see the police doing that, you lose all
Yeah,
trust in them.
yeah, definitely. And then they came in my house one time and took money because back in the days, that's type of stuff they used to do. They come in your house. If they find you with money or anything, they take it or they plant stuff on you. I've watched them do it, because of the surroundings that I was around. And so that was just the stuff that was normal for me. And so,
Yeah, then no one's gonna take your word. They're gonna believe the cop.
oh yeah, definitely back then. Back then, they didn't believe nothing we said. I mean, it was all about the cops. The
Mm-hmm.
cops was always right. That's why it took Rodney King video to be publicized on TV like it did to really show people what's been going on for many years. Um, and African American communities or poor communities where there's African Americans, Hispanics, and everyone else in that community that's been harassed by the police. The police would harass you back in those days because I used to stay in the jungles. I don't know if you know anything about the
I
jungles.
do not.
Okay, in Los Angeles, there's a particular place that they call the jungles. And
Hmm.
it's just what they've been calling it for years. It has a bunch of apartments. You got people doing all kind of things in there. And so police come in there and it's over. So the those are the type of areas I know about. So you might ask somebody, what about that? Have you ever heard about the jungles? They'll be like, "What do you? How you know about that?" Because I got ran out of the jungles, boy. These girls jumped me, and I left that jungles. I left the jungles because I got jumped. Yeah,
Why is it called
there's
the
my story.
jungles?
That's just because it's a terrible place. It could be a terrible place to live. I mean, you got all kind of people living in there, and you got gang bangers, you got drug dealers, you got drug addicts, you got working class people, you got some of everything inside the jungles. Jungles was known for a place where you can go get drugs and stuff. Jungles was known for a place where you can come in there and no make it out. I mean, it was it wasn't not a good place to stay to live.
Yeah, that sounds really rough. I'm in the country, so I don't know much about city life.
Well, Inglewood, California. I grew up in Inglewood, California as well too, and it wasn't too nice. Compton, we stayed in Compton because my mom and my aunt, they were very unstable, but they stuck together, you know. And then so we just traveled around LA like it was like we were on vacation. Cause my mom and my auntie is just that they just couldn't be stable.
Yeah.
We were always getting put out of our apartments. We was always getting evicted. I just couldn't understand it. Why we were always getting evicted or why we were unstable. And that comes with being abused. My mom and my auntie, we were always getting evicted. It was just terrible.
Yeah, and that is so much for a kid, a child to have to
Well,
face.
yeah, true.
Do you have a website or anything where what kind of advocating do you do?
Well, I did have a website, but they were trying to fix it, Vista Print, and then I end up not renewing it and lost all my info. So now I got everything on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube, on Facebook. So I'm planning to get I'm not sure if I should get one though, a website because I do mission in Africa and I'll be going there for a little while and I didn't want to get any kind of bills and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a Facebook though. And if you go on my Facebook, I have a Facebook for my ministry and I have a personal Facebook, but it's mixed because everything I do is about helping people. It's ministry. So they both mix together. But yeah, I have a Facebook page that I use
Alrighty, what is
and
that? So if anyone wants to check it out.
okay, it's let me make sure you can just put in my first and last name. It'll come up. I'm trying to figure out where do I get the actual. So you can put in Lautrina Patterson, my name Lautrina, and then Patterson.
Okay. Let's see.
Let me get my I have some cards. I have some cards. Well, my let me see if my Facebook account is on here. I should have had this ready, but I didn't know you was gonna ask for it.
Just let people plug anything if they have anything
Well,
to.
usually I'm ready. I mean, with all my info and stuff. But I've been passing out those cards like crazy. Because I also me and my husband. I also feed the homeless once a month since the COVID.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so we go down there. It's called the Tent City. And
Okay, I think they have a few of those around.
well, they just start. Well, they didn't have this until recently because they didn't used to have anything with a tent city downtown. They only had Cass, the shelter called Cass, and they used to house the homeless, but because they don't have enough room, they started the tent city.
And with the pandemic, the homeless are probably affected severely.
Oh man, when I go down there, because I also put this hand sanitizer and the mask in the bag. I mean, they come out there, they don't have nothing on their face. They don't have anything on their face to protect them. And those. I mean, now they're not even that expensive, but um, yeah, they need help down there. So the name of my the ministry is called the Beginning of a Woman Global Ministry.
Let's see the beginning.
So that's a different site. So I actually have two. So if you put in the Beginning of a Woman Global Ministry, you'll get my website.
Okay,
Also, it's at Love TBOAWGM.
so it was Love TBO.
AWGM.
GM.
So it's at Love. So the love is lowercase letters, and then the TBOAWGM.
Okay, I see it.
You see it?
Yep. I'll post that to my group so if anyone wants to reach out or learn more about you.
Yeah. So that's my ministry website, and then you put my name in, and you'll find my well, I actually got two sites. So if you see, I even go and do missions. I recently did a missions before the COVID in the Bahamas.
Oh,
You
nice.
remember when they had that big tornado and the hurricane, and it
Mm-hmm.
destroyed parts of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to go there with some stuff and give out some stuff to one of the churches to give to the people that were affected by that. And then I also do missions in Africa. I've been to Africa, Cuba, Bahamas, St. Thomas, um,
It's
so many
awesome to hear.
different
It's
places.
awesome to hear that you're doing all this. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So because of that, writing the book. Also, I don't know if you know about the documentary I was able to do.
No, what is that called?
That's called. Let me make sure I get it right. It calls This Hits Home. It's um it's in vimeo.com. You can find it on my website. You can find it on my website and click the link to see the trailer. And then you can go to vimeo.com to actually see the whole video. But I think you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was it was included in getting some kind of plaque or reward. Sydney, I don't know if you know, Sydney is the producer. Let
No,
me get
I
Sydney.
don't.
She's a actress. Let me get her whole name for you. Yeah, she I'm all, my you'll see me, my face is on the cover. My face. For some reason she chose my face to be on the front of the movie theater like Tupac. You remember You remember, you remember how Tupac album had him and his face was turned this way,
Yeah.
and it, yeah, that's what she did. She did Tupac, a Tupac on me. It's nice, but she didn't tell me she was gonna put me on the cover though. But it's several women sharing their stories about sexual and domestic violence, and then it also informs you about the brain injury that can happen after going through this type of abuse with your abuser and being affected mentally by having been ending up with some type of brain injury. So
Okay, awesome. I found it in Sydney, Scotia.
yes, you know her now, right? She's a famous actress.
I haven't heard of
You
her.
don't see her?
She's Canadian. She's in the TV series Some Assembly Required. That sounds
Yeah,
familiar, but I've never seen it.
yeah. So she's for some reason she got involved in it. So once I finish my book, I do want to do something in movies or theater, create
Which
some kind of manuscript.
what's your first book called?
Oh, my first book called Spiritual Warfare Prayers. It's on my website too. You'll see
Okay.
it on my Facebook. This is the oh, I had it for you and then I squeezed it off. It looks weird. Tell people don't be scared of it because a lot of people are scared of
You
the
can't see.
front
It's too
page.
bright.
Oh, you can't see it.
It's too bright.
It's too bright. Some people are scared of the yeah. Okay, yeah, you can't see it. It's too big. Some people are scared because they don't understand the front. You see the front
Oh, okay. Now
where
I can see it. Yeah.
yeah, they get scared because they don't understand the prayer shawl, the shofar, and the tambourine. But that has a lot to do with my relationship with God. So they scared of it, but I'm not because I understand it. I wish I would. You know what I'm gonna do? I might take it off and submit it, do a second edition, just so I can explain what's on the front.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, you looking at it, you like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
But this is all about my relationship with God. My tambourine and my shofar. It's more of a Jewish kind of look, but it's intertwined with Christianity because Jesus was a Jew. So a lot of people don't really know about that part of Jesus.
Yeah.
they haven't got they haven't gotten really in depth in who he really is or who he really was or who no just who he is because uh, because of my educational background, I was able to kind of tap into places where some people may have not tapped in yet. And then my studying. So that's all that is. That's basically how he looked. He had that woven prayer shawl on him all the time. So I just have an understanding of what it is.
That's
Don't
awesome.
want to force it on anybody because it's personal. But it can be kind of scary. I'm not gonna, and plus I've done a lot of acting, extra acting. So I think I'm an actress. So I was bold enough to do that because I know how it is to be an actor or actress, and so I'm not scared of being bold about it. But the next book won't be so theatrical because I think the front of the page, I think it's scaring people. I'm not getting the audience that I want with it.
Yeah. It's hard to
Yeah,
market books.
yeah, yeah. I'm not getting the audience that I want with it. I want single women, more women to purchase the book. You know, I'm not making a lot of money off the book, but people are buying it because it is on Amazon. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today.
Yeah.
I'm sure your story can definitely reach a lot of people and definitely help people know that they're not alone. And it's very
Yeah.
brave of you to get on here and share your story with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Hope you have a good weekend. It's New Year, so treat yourself well. Accomplish them New Year's resolutions.
For myself,
Yeah.
I didn't set any. I guess just completing everything that I started,
Yeah.
finishing it. Yeah, I guess
Good
that
enough.
would be yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty. Have a good rest of your
Okay.
day.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
See ya.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys. Let's switch over to the virtual camera. I hope this is a better angle, even though you gotta look at my like forehead the whole freaking time. But that was awesome. She's a very nice lady. Let me close out my Zoom. Sorry, I can't talk and multitask. I don't know why I'm trying to do it. Alrighty, I'll update the thumbnail for this and all the information on here. I'll post Amazon links, her Facebook. That will all be in the live new videos under the notification that this stream went live. And we will be back at 6, I believe. 2 hours. Yeah, 6. No, 7. So we'll be back in that's 2 hours. Dirt. We'll be back in 2 hours from 7 to 8, and we'll be learning about Kimberly Minor, and she'll be sharing her story with us facing 2 domestic abusive relationships. So we will see you guys then. I hate having the camera up there. It's hard to look when there's bright light.